Hey, it's Fano here, High Vibrations. So my good camera's out of battery right now, so this is why the quality's not as good. But you got to make do with what you have in life all the time. Uh, you got to be rolling. You have to keep rolling with it. People are going to try and control, but you have to keep rolling with it. Just keep rolling with it and overcome it as well. But don't be overcame by ego. And I'm going to talk a little bit about entities now. Um, I believe that there are some kind of entities that work and they can work through people, they can work with people, and they can work against people. So I'm going to talk a little bit about chaos energy for a start. Chaos energy is like a cloud that can come over your head, and until that cloud has gone to another place, there will be a test, and a lot of people will fall into this chaotic state of mind, and that will reflect through how they act and how they are. If you look at a war as a large scale, it's a large scale representation of chaos energy and fear energy working through individuals. So also I see laughter as a different kind of energy, because when we laugh, we are actually expelling energy. So if laughter is like latching, they're similar uh, in the word sense, but actually laughter is like almost like a vampiric feeding energy. So when you laugh and you're stuck in this state of laughter, sometimes you might actually lose energy because you're stuck in such a state where you are expelling and giving off all this energy. Okay, so also laughter can be used well and it can heal. They say laughter is the best medicine, so there are different variations of this entity. Okay, so we've got chaos, we've got laughter. I'm going to talk a bit about emotions, how emotions can overcome you. If you do not focus on your breathing, if you do not focus on your moment, if you are not mindful in the moment, then you will find that your emotions can overcome you very quickly. They can be triggered, they can make you snappy, they can make you something that you're not. And at the end of the day, we are a complicated being, and we can use emotions, and we can use energies, we can use entities, we can use creativity to overcome. We can roll, and we can keep rolling through, because sometimes the tide is very strong in one direction. It could be a very negative tide, or it could be a very positive tide. And if you're not able to swim with the tide and turn your wings towards the wind and fly, you're going to try and fight the current, and sometimes it's going to be too much if you don't know how to roll with it. So this is 3 minutes in. So I've talked about that. I'm going to talk a little bit about my recent experiences. So recently I went to the zoo, and I always love going to the zoo because you get a diverse experience with loads of different species, specimens, entities, energies, characters, individuals, and you realize that there is a lot of sentient and there's a lot of spiritual energy within these beings. So anyone that thinks that, oh, we're the only spiritual or we're the only sentient beings has obviously been programmed in a negative manner to believe such a thing, and looking uh, they've been looking at creatures and animals in the wrong way with the blinders on and with the ego in control. So obviously I'm gonna roll with this conversation. I'm gonna talk a little bit about how what diversity I saw when I went to the zoo. So we had all kinds of animals. We had otters. I could see otters. They were very content, very much mindful. They were creative young beings, and they worked in such a way where there was a small pool and they were coming almost entertaining. I wouldn't say entertaining because they're not entertainers, but they were flamboyant and expressive towards humans, the observers that were watching them, and they also found creativity in their slipstream flowing in the water. So this can be used metaphorically. This can be understood and transmuted in all kinds of ways. I saw gorillas. I mean, they're very much like us, as you know. Um, they have a larger what's it called? Not diaphragm. Sorry, they have a larger internal bowel system, so they can store a lot more. But gorillas are vegetarians, they eat leaves, and they eat all kind of vegetation. They're not natural meat eaters or carnivores, but they have playful ways when they're younger. They beat their chest, for example, in play, and they have like wrestling, grappling kind of scurries and play fights. And then when they get older, they use the chest beating in real life now. It becomes real for them, and they have to practice it in nature to ward off enemies. And also gorillas, they do not look each other right in the eye. If you look at a gorilla in the eye, it will take that as a threat. So you have to look down. So this is all, it all comes to like bowing, and it comes down to respect, which is very similar to our nature in martial arts and our posturing. And I'm going to keep rolling the conversation. I also saw some reptilian beings, some frogs, beautiful colours, the kind of colours that can't really be created with paint and pencils and these things that we use to make art. You see a lot more beauty in nature. But humans we're always trying to recreate nature. We're always trying to make things that are based on nature, such as the bird and the plane, such as the I saw a chameleon hanging out in a tree. This cool chameleon, and his eye was multi-directional, and it was moving around his head in such an epic way. I mean, there's not a camera on Earth that can do that, but I'm sure they're working on something crazy like that, because well, that's kind of the ego in some way, because there's like a basic camera can do a good enough job, but humans kind of want this pan-optical situation, and also with surveillance they're just like that as well. But chameleons use it to survive in nature. Humans are using it to surveil one another and try and control one another, because there's lack of trust there within the system. So without trust there's going to be fear, and with fear there's going to be all kinds of inventions sprouting up, like surveillance cameras. There's going to be regulations and societal systems that go back hundreds of years that are planning for the controlling of the human population. They're going to try and get you in the system. They're going to try and get you they're going to try and know you. They're going to try and guide you on a path so that you are working under them. And if you're smart and wise and you're not working under them, they're going to keep persisting. They're going to keep persisting to try and get you in the system so you're more controllable, less of a threat, less of a danger. And this is just the way it is. I mean, anyone that has worked in the system or worked around the system or just researched it and spoke to people that have worked in it, for example, you will start to realize that, yeah, they do want people to be under control, and it's not necessarily them, the people working directly with you. It will be the people above them and above them that have the money, and the people are weak. So as soon as you give them a sum of money, they'll pretty much do everything they're told. But we're not like that. Being a spiritual being, you have no price. It's one of the big things about being a pure spiritual being. You cannot have a price on your head. You will never join. You will never conform. You will never be owned. And this all comes from The Art of Peace. So check out The Art of Peace. It's a brilliant book. It was around when I woke up about 5 or 6 years ago. This was one of the key texts for me in making sense of my new awakening. So obviously I'm not going to preach too much more. So this is about 9 minutes in. Peace in and out, my high vibrations. Actually, I'm going to talk, before I end this, I'm just going to talk about a couple movies and metaphors. So I like, if you can transmute movies, they're actually not bad. So for example, The Mask is a really good metaphor. The mask is an ego. They say in the movie it's a wooden mask, and it's a lost, kind of cursed or possessed mask. When Jim Carrey puts it on, it's kind of like, yeah, it's the ego comes out, and it's powerful, and it's power of the ego. But you realize that all this power is kind of illusion, because as soon as the mask is gone, Jim Carrey is regular Jim Carrey, whatever the character's called, Stanley or something. And also, alright, so The Mask. Oh, there was another movie I really want to talk about. I forgot already. But basically, you'll see a lot of kind of magic being portrayed in music. I mean, people don't like the word magic because they think it's bullshit, but there's been Magia and magic and Wicca and witchcraft and black, white, grey magic. You know, there's been sex magic, there's been lust magic, there's been love magic, there's been weather manipulation. People can tune in, people can channel these things, people can work with it, people can roll with it. People can deny it all they want, but at the end of the day, the people that deny it, they're always gonna be asleep, because what I found in my awakening is that I needed to believe before I could perceive. So I'm gonna leave it there, man. You've got to believe before you perceive. If the door's not open, there's no possibility for spirit to enter. So I'm gonna leave it there. Peace in and out. High vibrations. It's Frono here. Over and out. My full gratitude.